Hey, good morning. I have a confession for you guys, and that is that in the midst of getting ready to preach, I'm actually preaching for the next 2 weeks. I'm here and at the church and sanctuary, getting ready for our dry run. Every Thursday we go through a practice run of the sermon, so in preparation for getting ready for that, in preparation for getting ready for Sunday, I just completely forgot to create my video. It was in my mind yesterday that I needed to get it done, and then as I was wrapping things up and making sure I was ready for this morning, it just slipped my mind until I got the message this morning reminding me about the video. So I'm sorry that it's late, and you know what, honestly, it gives me a little bit of appreciation for how Ralph does it. Now, I know that he's not asking for this. He has no idea that I'm saying this, and he's actually a very humble guy. I mean, that's what his doctorate is on. But the fact that he preaches most weeks, does 2 morning Bible studies on Mondays and Wednesdays, actually is leading a trainee Bible study, leads the church, is a spouse and a father. He takes on a lot, and does these videos as well for the morning devotions. So maybe just this is an opportunity to give a shout out of thanks to Ralph. If you haven't done that, I would encourage you to do that. Send him a text message. He'll eventually look at it. Send him an email, post on his Facebook page just saying thanks for all you do to lead in the midst of this difficult time. Because as you just saw from me, it's not that easy to hold it all together. So, Ralph, thank you for the way that you lead and for the example that you set. Now, for Psalm chapter 7 this morning, I wanted to share just a couple ideas on the passage. I'm not going to read it out loud, the whole thing for you. I encourage you guys to do it for yourselves. But as I was reading it, I noticed a couple things that I wanted to bring to attention. And that is, in the beginning, David, he begins with an action, right, where he says, I take refuge in you, God. So he goes from his action to a reflection on his own sense of self and what he's been doing. And then it's a call of action to God. Arise, awake, God, do something. And then after that, there's a reflection on the character and the nature of God. And I love the way that those first 4 kind of stanzas are put together like that, with an action, a reflection, an action, and a reflection. And so the word that I just have for us this morning is, what do you feel like you are needing to do in the midst of your faith, in the midst of the circumstances that we're seeing? Is it to take refuge in God? Is it to worship God? That's what David does at the end of the psalm. What is he calling you to do? And then in what ways do you need to reflect on yourself, on the things that are going on in your own heart, on the ways that you've been responding and reacting in this world? Reflect on your actions. See what's going on. Invite God into that. And then what is on your heart to ask God to do? Ask it. Jesus tells us that we get to do that. We get to ask God. That there is no question too big or too small for God. Doesn't mean that he's going to do it, but just like any parent who loves their child, the importance is oftentimes more just the communication, that you brought me your request, that you're sharing your heart with me. I may not be able to say yes, but I want the relationship, and I want to hear your heart. And oftentimes, just bringing the heart to God often does a lot of the work that we're asking God to do. So I would encourage you, call out to God. What do you want him to do? And then take time to reflect on who God is, on his nature, on his goodness, on his justice, and give him praise and thanks for that.